Carrollton, Kentucky Mayor Robb Adams took to Facebook Live on the afternoon of April 6th with a message. If you live along the Kentucky River, you need to evacuate immediately. Adams told viewers that someone had accidentally opened 10 spillway gates at Dix Dam, which impounds Harrington Lake in central Kentucky. Water was gushing out and was going to make flooding worse downstream on the Kentucky River. Carrollton, the county seat of Carroll County, is where the Kentucky River meets the Ohio River. Emergency management officials were slammed with calls of people panicking over the announcement, except it wasn't true. So what happened? Here's what we know so far. Days of heavy rain had caused flooding in many parts of Kentucky, with the water projected to reach near record levels in some places, heading into the first weekend of April. On April 6th at 3 p.m., Adams went on Facebook with the announcement that a mistaken release of water at the dam many miles downstream was going to make the problem worse. He said the information had come from Kentucky Emergency Management. However, there was no accidental release of water from Dix Dam. Louisville Gas and Electric and Kentucky Utilities, which owns the dam, had planned the release to lower the level of Harrington Lake after days of heavy inflow, easing stress on the dam as part of its safety protocol. The utility notified officials in affected counties of the release on Friday, April 4th at 5:30 p.m. The utility also notified the National Weather Service, which sent the information to a river forecast center. That means the water coming out of the lake had been factored into the flooding predictions, so it did not make flooding worse than forecast. Within a few hours, Adams went back on Facebook and said he had received new information that the water release at Dix Dam was not an accident. But it's still not entirely clear how this miscommunication happened. Adams told the Herald Leader that he had not listened to the Kentucky Emergency Management 11 a.m. briefing April 6th, where the bad information apparently came from. Two people in emergency management listened to the briefing on a teleconference and then passed the information on to him and others at the local emergency operations center afterward. He reiterated that the information he initially received was that the gates at Dix Dam had been opened accidentally. Governor Andy Beshear said during an April 7th news conference that efforts were underway to figure out what exactly happened. Beshear said state officials will talk with LG&E and KU to make sure there is direct communication between the state and the utility about planned water releases. Beshear also said Adams was only trying to help people by putting out the information as he understood it in the moment. I'm Andrew Henderson with the Lexington Herald Leader. Thanks for watching.